The foreign experts take on the U.S. plan of action in Syria and how a potential attack would impact the Middle East. We are joined by Dr. Jang Ji-hyang, a researcher of Middle Eastern affairs at the Asan Institute for Policy Studies. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Jang, President Obama announced that he is going to seek the approval of the U.S. Congress for attacks on Syria. What would happen if he is not able to convince a very skeptical public and Congress?
Well, we are going to hear the result of the vote next week around September 9th, Monday. But then Secretary of State Kerry already said that the United States will go to the action without congressional authorization anyway. And he also added that there are several historical cases of going to the action without approval, such as Kosovo, Iraq, and Somalia.
Well, China and Russia are objecting to the idea of international military action against Syria. How important is it to get their blessing?
I think not that important. I mean, they are not going to change their position, support toward Assad regime anyway. I mean, like Russia has very critical economic and military interest in Syria. And also 2 years ago, UN Security Council approval, also including by China and Russia, a strike on Libya just brought about the regime change that those two countries don't want to see. So those two countries will so firmly resist, this time about the UN Security Council approval. So we are not going to see their support, and their blessing is not that important, I think.
But in many ways, the U.S. can't go back on its pledge to police the world over the use of biochemical weapons. How important is it for the U.S. to uphold the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, which is essentially a gentleman's agreement not to use these types of weapons in warfare?
It is quite important, I think. It is strongly prohibited according to international norms and laws. For instance, Saddam Hussein used sarin gas against Iranian civilians during the Iran-Iraq war, and also again the Kurds in the 1990s. For instance, South Korea government, as a member of Chemical Weapon Convention, strongly condemned the use of chemical weapon in Syria this August. So that is quite important.
Then how will a potential attack impact the wider Middle East, and will Assad retaliate? If so, where?
Well, I think there is huge backfire. I hope not to see that, but probably Assad will attack near border of Lebanon, and there's like a Hezbollah supported by Iran. So yes, there's going to be retaliation and backfire.
Could there have been other alternatives to condemn the Assad regime for its use of chemical weapons other than this military attack?
For now, I will say no. The international community just missed so many important chances and critical juncture time point. I understand the American public opinion worrying about another war, and the limited airstrike will, bring more escalation. But for now, doing nothing is not really the option. So there's no really political, diplomatic option for now for international community, I think.
All right. Well, Dr. Jang, again, thank you very much for joining us and for your insight tonight.
Thanks for having me.